Good evening. The Dolores County Broadcasting Network presents the DCTV 4-H Evening News Program for November 4th, 2019. Our camera people tonight are Aubrey and Tanner, video and sound engineer and producer Lynn, teleprompter and prompter Myra, news anchors are Brandon and Hannah, and our meteorologist is Sativa. This is your news director. And now,
welcome to the DCTV 4-H Kids Evening News Show. Help us keep our news show on air by becoming a sponsor. You can buy a sponsor by calling 970-677-4119. That's 970-677-4119. Now for the news. Hi, I'm Nolan, and our first story is from the Washington Post. Appeals court rejects Trump's attempt to withhold tax returns from local prosecutors, setting stage for Supreme Court fight. A federal appeals court on Monday rejected President Trump's effort to block New York's prosecutors from accessing his tax records and Trump's sweeping claims of presidential immunity. In trying to block the subpoena for his private financial records from the New York prosecutors investigating hush money payments made before the 2016 election, Trump's attorneys have argued that as President Trump is immune not only from prosecution from investigations, but in the decision, a three-judge panel of the Second U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals held that any presidential immunity from a state criminal process did not bar the enforcement of such subpoena. Rebutting the argument that allowing the case to proceed would hinder the president in his official duties, Chief Judge Robert A. Katzmann said that Trump was not at risk of imminent arrest or imprisonment and wasn't required to do anything. The subpoena at issue is directed not at the president but to his accountants. Compliance does not require the president to do anything at all, Katzmann wrote. He was joined by judges Denny Chin and Christopher F. Droney, all of whom were nominated by Democratic presidents. The ruling does not mean that Trump's tax records will be turned over immediately. Trump plans to appeal the case to the Supreme Court, according to Jay Sekulow, counsel to the president. The decision of the Second Circuit will be taken to the Supreme Court. Sekulow said that the statement, the issue raised in this case goes to the heart of our republic. The constitutional issues are significant. That appeal is due 10 days from the appeal court decision per an agreement between prosecutors and the plaintiffs. A spokesman for Manhattan District Attorney Cyrus R. Vance, Jr. declined to comment. One of Trump's private attorneys, William S. Consovoy, had argued that in the case that Trump enjoys temporary presidential immunity from investigations or prosecution while the president, immunity that he argued would apply even if the president were to shoot someone. The case is one of severe legal clashes testing the limits of presidential power that is expected to react to the Supreme Court as soon as this term. Monday's decision marked the second time in recent weeks that a federal appeals court has ruled against the president in his bid to stop investigators from scrutinizing his private financial records. Prosecutors agreed to delay enforcement of the subpoena to Trump's longtime accounting firm. The president's lawyers moved too quickly to ask the Supreme Court to intervene. During oral arguments last month, Consovoy told the court that the subpoena was a politically motivated fishing expedition. A sitting president, he said, cannot be investigated or prosecuted while in office, even for shooting someone on the streets of Manhattan. His assertion of temporary presidential immunity came in response to a question about Trump's own hypothetical from 2016 when he said as a candidate, his political support was so strong that he could stand in the middle of the Fifth Avenue and shoot somebody and not lose any voters.
This story is from the Washington Post. California will never stop burning. You smell it or you think you do, like a bonfire on the beach. Then you see it in your headlights. Ash or maybe insects. These signs are cool at first on the westbound 118 freeway, leading through sandstone crags that are 70 million years old. The thunderhead of smoke, a hills of sagebrush and sumac ascended by the snaking brake lights of semi-valley traffic. It is unnatural and natural simultaneously. This is the easy fire, the one that gnawed on the perimeter of the Ronald Reagan Presidential Library, and it is quickly disappears from sight. It is nighttime now, and the winding roads and staggered hillsides perform sleights of hand. A wildfire can be hard to find and easy to lose. Hunting for one, you stumble upon another. Farther west in Samois, there is a soft glow over a ridge, a sunrise from the north, a newborn wildfire. It is so new that the police officers mapping evacuations on the hood of a cruiser on the East Loma Avenue aren't sure of its name. It will be Kristen Maria. Fingers of flame clutch on the top of the ridge, then embers cascade over the near side of the canyon. Parts of the hillside resemble erupting volcanoes, and miniature helicopters roar overhead and unleash curtains of water. The fire stabs west, searing a path towards the Santa Clara River, fueled by hissing Santa Ana winds that drown out the crackle. Trees spasm in the wind and catch fire. Smoke rose like a fast-moving fog past Ventura County. Firefighters on East Loma. Captain Steve Kaufman is surveying the fire. Unpredictable, he calls it erratic. Its movement reminds him of Thomas or Woolsey fires, which over the past 2 years burned 600 square miles in the greater Los Angeles area. Humidity's at 3%, winds are between 30 miles per hour. That means explosive fire behavior, Kaufman says. If you have nothing at stake but yourself, it's possible to stand within 100 yards of this fire and just watch it. It is an eerie, mesmerizing experience. If you do have something at stake, you are inside your own little apocalypse. On the side of the street, a farmer and his crew are yakking at an industrial hose around, spraying the tree lines of a property in the last-ditch attempt to protect his lemon and avocado orchards. On the other side of the street, Alexia Baker, 28, is evacuating alpacas, pigs, and horses from her family's ranch. She is a mermaid. She is dressed as a mermaid. It is Halloween. Baker's husband and her father stay behind to extinguish the trees one by one, using their own water trucks as firefighting crews encircled homes along East La Loma and began the defense. The fear becomes around every year, Baker says. 2 days later, after the evacuation order is lifted, it happens between October and November when the winds pick up. Around the winds and Somis are unbelievable. They're hurricane winds every year, and that alone is terrifying for the kids and the animals. And us. Each year we get a little better at it. Prior to any wind warnings, I have our cars packed up. It becomes a way of life.
This story is from the Denver Post. Conflicts involving bears and humans at Yellowstone were down in 2018. Despite the challenges of managing visitors eager to photograph wildlife in Yellowstone National Park, the number of conflicts involving humans and bears was low in 2018, according to the park's annual bear report. Rangers were notified of 1,627 grizzly and black bear sightings in the park between March 10th, 2018 and the first sighting of bear activity in the spring through December 20th, 2018, the last black bear sighting of the year. The Cody Enterprise reported. There were a few bear-human conflicts inside the park in 2018. said Yellowstone biologist Carrie Gunther. However, managing visitors that stopped to view and photograph bears foraging in roadside meadows, and thus creating large bear jams, was a considerable management challenge. More than 400 million people visit the 3,400 square mile park each year. As visitation increases, park managers should expect an increasing number of bears to become habituated to people and a higher level of habituation among those bears, thereby causing more bear jams and jams of longer duration, the report said. Park officials counted 240 bear jams in 2018, but only 8 human-bear conflicts. In one of those instances, a hiker was injured during an accidental encounter with a bear on a trail. Rangers removed 87 wildlife carcasses that could have attracted bear and installed 162 food storage lockers.
This story is from the Journal. Cold October sets record in southwest Colorado. Meteorologists forecast below the normal precipitation above average temperatures for early November. A chilly Halloween with overnight temperatures dropping into single digits capped the coldest October on record in southwest Colorado. According to the National Weather Service in Grand Junction, the average temperature last month in Durango tracked lower than the same measurement for the all October since 1996. The National Weather Service meteorologist Chris Sanders. The same goes for Cortez. The weather observers in Grand Junction who have taken kept and tracked temperature records since 1893 also recorded an average cold average in October. It is basically from what I can gather, kind of just all out of the blue. Sanders said of all the record-setting cold, looking back at the last 10 years, we really haven't had anything this cold. We have these colder years sprinkled in there. He said 2009 was another one that was pretty similar to this round. Another in 2006. It is hard to really justify any trend. The NWS forecast below the normal precipitation, above average temperatures, and a dry atmosphere for the first 2 weeks of November. Sanders said, a ridge of high pressure that's basically a block to moisture bringing storms in the southwest hasn't moved and isn't forecast to anytime soon, he said.
Our weird news stories come from the Huffington Post. Woman sold medical excuse notes to students for $20 each. Sweet. Authorities in Louisiana say a woman who worked at the medical clinic has been arrested for selling fake doctor's notes to high school students so they can get out of class. Solid. News outlets report 52-year-old Belinda Gale Fondren was charged with filing or maintaining false public records. Vernon Park Parish Sheriff Sam Kraft says Fondren was selling medical excuses for $20 each. He says 2 students at Evans High School in Evans, Louisiana received excuses on 14 occasions. Deputies said a physician received a call from Vernon Parish High School board about the absence notes. He told deputies that he didn't treat the students, nor did he authorize the excuses. Kraft says Fondren worked in a clerical position at the clinic. In other weird news, a century-old shipwreck atop Niagara Falls breaks free, creeps closer to the edge. A shipwreck that's been stuck for a century near the edge of Niagara Falls broke free last week and crept towards Horseshoe Falls. Niagara Parks in Ontario, Canada, said the iron scow was hit by severe weather on Halloween and moved about 146 feet downriver. The scow shifted, said Jim Hill, senior manager of Heritage for the organization, adding that the storm flipped the ship on its side and spun it around. It could be stuck there for days, or it could be stuck there for years, he said in a video released by the parks online. It's anyone's guess. Niagara Parks said the dumping scow broke free from its tug on August 6, 1918, and began rushing towards Horseshoe Falls, the largest of the falls in Niagara. The 2 men on board opened the dumping doors, flooding the compartments and causing the ship to run aground in some rapids just 1/3 of a mile from the edge. The 2 men were saved in a dramatic rescue involving a lifeline fired from the roof of a nearby power station. Niagara Parks told that the scow doesn't appear to be in imminent danger of going over. Now for our weather report with Sativa.
The current temperature is 56 degrees. Today's high was also 60 degrees. The low was 32. The barometer is at 29.96 inches and steady. Humidity is 23%. Wind is between 1 and 8 mph from the northwest. Gusts have been up to 21 miles per hour. There were 0 hundredths of an inch of moisture measured by the DCTV weather station today. Moisture for this month is 1/100th of an inch. Moisture accumulation for the year is 10.24 inches. From the National Weather Service, here's the big one. All the West Coast states are having clear weather today, as are we. There is some areas of snow mixed in with rain in Montana, dipping down into Wyoming, and another smaller patch in western Nebraska. It's somewhere on the map here. Another area of mixed perception is over the Great Lakes. The green area from Dallas, Texas, practically to Maine, is an area of rain, where there's another area of mixed perception. Precipitation. From South Carolina to Philadelphia is another area of just rain. Then along the Atlantic coast, from South Carolina to Florida is an area of rain and thunderstorms. Somewhere around here. Now for our exclusive DCTV 5-day forecast. Tuesday, sunny, high 60, low 40 or 30. Wednesday, mostly sunny, high 59, low 30. Thursday, mostly sunny, high 58, low 29. Friday, mostly sunny, high 58, low 29. Saturday, mostly sunny, high 58, low 29. Now for our climate change report. CO2, carbon dioxide, is considered a greenhouse gas and is one of the principal causes of climate change. CO2 traps heat in the atmosphere, which causes climate instability. The results are significant variations worldwide of moisture and hot and cold temperatures. But the general climate trend is that the planet is slowly warming. Therefore, it is important that we report the CO2 change. The following are the CO2 numbers in parts per million. Last week, 409.32. 2 weeks ago, 408.78. Last year, 406.43. 10 years ago, 385.6. 50 years ago, 322.85. Thanks to Dr. Peter Tans of the National Oceanographic and the
Atmospheric Administration and Michael McGee of the CO2 Earth Network for providing this information. Remember, you can help keep our kids' news show on the air by buying a sponsorship. To become a sponsor, call 970-677-4119. That's 970-677-4119. Thank you. Now back to our news director.
And that's the end of today's DCTV 4-H news program. Good night, and thank you for watching.